I'm using modded classes to play through Divinity, and nothing went according to plan in this video, but my plans falling apart ended up being a blessing because it allowed me to find a really weird new situational exploit. I'm going to be trying out the Umbra class in this video, which has an extremely unique playstyle. Umbra swaps between Order and Chaos abilities to adapt to target their enemies' weaknesses. The Order form deals physical damage, while the Chaos form uses magic damage types chosen at random, known as chaos damage. Fortunately for me, I have the perfect test subject to try out my new abilities on, Niles the Flenser. I put Niles in this cage in my last video, and it's time to let him out and see what the Umbra class can do. Okay, I don't feel like respecing to thievery, so I'm just gonna attack his door and break it down. What? He's accusing me of vandalism because I'm trying to break the door right in front of him? That's really funny. How are you gonna bring me to prison if you're in a cell, buddy? Oh, and then if I attack, it just ends the combat right away. That's so weird. Now that I've broken down the door completely, he didn't get mad about that hit, and now he's just walking off. All right, I'm gonna attack him to start the fight, and then we will see what this class can do. Since the Umbra class has two forms, I can only access half the abilities on my hotbar right now. The abilities on the left are the Order form, and the ones on the right are Chaos. If I had to summarize this class as quick as possible, I'd say it's like a more adaptable, flexible rogue class. Being able to switch between physical and magic damage makes it really easy to go after whichever armor type the enemy has less of. Plus, every time I land an ability in Order form, it reduces my enemy's physical resistance. When I land an ability in Chaos form, it reduces all of their magic resistances. This class seems like it was designed to be pretty self-sufficient, so in this video I'm going to use a very minimal amount of skills from other classes, but adding in Scoundrel and Polymorph skills would make this class insanely strong. In addition to close-up attacks, I have two ranged attacks as well, so I really can handle almost any situation. I ended up playing with Niles for a little bit too long, and he turned me into a chicken and slaughtered me. So I revived Sabile and let her go at it again, but with less messing around this time, and I killed Niles pretty easily. In Fort Joy's dungeon, where the prison cells are, there's two fights you can do. One against some fire slugs, and another against some Magisters, including the Houndmaster. I thought there was no way the Magisters and the fire slugs would be on the same team, but I was very wrong. Despite this, it actually ended up working in my favor in a big way. It doesn't look like the fire slugs and the Magisters want to fight, but I'm gonna see if I can encourage them to fight each other. I'm gonna throw an oil barrel on the fire trail that the fire slug left behind and see if the Magisters think the fire slug is the source and so attack it. They don't care. They don't care at all. They don't.
How many was it?
He's not even moving out of the fire though. What happened next was pretty funny because the fire from the explosion is part of the combat, so it doesn't go away until the turn advances. And right now it's Fane's turn, so the combat queue isn't advancing at all. But the Magister doesn't seem interested in fighting the fire slug, and Sabile didn't get pulled out of stealth, so the Houndmaster is just standing in this infinite fire source roasting. So I just waited until he was a couple hits away from death, and I finished him off with Sabile to bring the Magisters into the fight. That worked out so much better than I was hoping for. That was such a free kill. I'm actually just a little bit over leveled for this fight, so I'm pumping out a lot more damage than I should be. So I don't think it's going to be a problem that the fire slugs and the Magisters are on the same team. The Umbra build does a lot of damage, and it's also got a lot of mobility, so it should be easy for me to stay away from attacks while taking people out. I switched over to Order form to go after the Magister Ranger because the Ranger had way less physical armor than magical armor. And Fane's build actually does physical damage too because I've still left him on Spectre, and Sir Laura is just so in the way. All right, let me know in the comments if you think I should kill Sir Laura, because he's so good at getting in the way. By the way, the reason I left Fane as a Spectre for one more fight was because YouTube recommended a video on Lebensmude's channel that showed the location of the 4 unique scythes, and I wanted to give this one a try. I also learned a couple other completely new things about Divinity from their channel, so thanks for your videos, Lebensmude. I could just let this happen. I could just go to the kitchen, make a snack, come back, pretend to be upset, play some sad music. It's tempting. No. I want to let you guys decide, or at least let fate decide, and it looks like he's being smart and he has run out of the fire, so for now, Sir Laura is still safe. The rest of the fight was easy to wrap up, so it's time to get on to the main event. Paladin Cork's last stand. I want to do my best to turn Paladin Cork into a raid boss and have him fight wave after wave of enemies while being supported by Fane and Sabile. In the fight, Fane's job is going to be to buff Paladin Cork, to give him more health, more armor, more magic armor, to give him more damage, more action points, more accuracy, more stats, more everything. To make sure my enemies focus on Paladin Cork, I'm going to have Fane take the Stench talent, which makes you smelly, and it says that you're less attractive to melee attackers. Sabile's job is going to be to work around the outskirts of the fight using Umbra to assassinate any ranged units that are attacking Paladin Cork. I'm also going to have Sabile chain combats together, so when I start running out of enemies from the first fight, I'm going to try and lure more enemies over so Paladin Cork has more things to fight. I started applying all of my buff abilities to Paladin Cork to try and turn him into a raid boss, but I didn't actually expect Paladin Cork to have as little damage as he has. I thought he did at least a little more, but the Magister's doing twice as much damage as Paladin Cork is doing with every hit, so this is going to be pretty tough. But I made my mind up, this is what I'm doing, so we're gonna do our best to keep Paladin Cork alive throughout all of this. But he's already taking a beating. Sabile's going to need to work pretty hard to take out these ranged units as quickly as possible, so I had her teleport one up to her location so she could have some one-on-one time with them. I also had Fane take a spell called Haze, which reduces my enemy's accuracy, so hopefully we'll be able to get some extra attacks to miss. Man, they're just taking chunks of health away from Paladin Cork with every single attack. Here goes the Hazed Archer. Oh, that was weird. They tried to aim for the oil barrel. They couldn't even. Hey, there's the miss. We got it. Haze successful. I don't know why that other archer just passed on their turn, but I'm okay with it. Yeah, Sabile's really going to need to work through these archers quick, or else I'm not going to be able to keep Paladin Cork alive. Okay, let's go and see. I get 2 turns in a row right now, so I probably can kill this archer all in one go. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So that's 1 archer down, and they have high ground, so this was definitely the more dangerous of the archers. And now I'll go after the next one over here in the middle. I jumped over to the other archer, and I decided to lend a little aid to Paladin Cork because I didn't know his damage was going to be this unimpressive. So I figured the least I could do is at least hit them with a bouncing blade attack before going to work on this archer here. But, you know, Paladin Cork just kept swinging away, shields up, got himself some defenses. This is such a bad idea. This is so terrible. He's so close to dying, but it's okay. Fane's turn is next, and I have not used healing spells yet, and I have a lot of healing spells. I gave Paladin Cork a little bit of physical armor back before healing him all the way back up to full health. Sabile kept working her way through the rangers and managed to get the middle one low enough that he'll die to his bleed damage. Meanwhile, the Magister captain over here used Blitz Attack and Whirlwind, just ignoring how absolutely smelly Fane is and getting some damage in on him. But it's okay because I also maxed Constitution on him, so Fane's really not going to be in too much trouble. I just kept buffing Paladin Cork, even though it really doesn't feel like he's doing enough damage to justify it. But I made up my mind. I'm doing it. I am going to try to keep Paladin Cork alive. I'm going to try it reasonably hard. Somewhat. You know, I'll make an effort. I'll give it a shot. Give it the old college try. I took this Devour Flame spell just in case divinity things happened and the entire battlefield was covered in fire, and there wasn't that much fire to devour, but I wanted to give Paladin Cork as much health as I could because there are a lot of attacks coming his way before I was able to do anything else for him. It also gives him a little bit of fire resistance, and I kind of wonder if that's what inspired him to make this next move. Paladin Cork, you gotta stop getting hit by attacks of opportunity. What are you doing? What kind of play is that? He goes up and hits the oil barrel and then Phoenix dives to blow it up? Is that because he has like 15% fire resist? That's not that much. Because of Paladin Cork's ingenious play, he had both of the Magisters slowed. One of them just used his turn to get out of the fire. The other one couldn't get to him to attack. I was pretty worried he was going to die because I didn't have anything left to get him out and he was so surrounded. But he honestly took the situations into his own hands and said, don't worry, I see you're trying out here. I'm going to give you everything I got too. Sabine had finished taking out all the ranged units, which means it's time for her to start focusing on her secondary objective to chain another fight together. But the door over here is locked, so I'm going to need to kill the captain first and loot the key off of his body. All right, the captain is down, so now I'm just going to loot his key, take it over to the door, and start luring over the Magisters and Silent Monks that are down on the docks to come and try their hand at fighting against the powerful, unstoppable Paladin Cork. Sabine went down to the docks and got their attention. She teleported one of the monks up over here and then jumped over and broke some oil so that it would slow their approach a little bit before walking over to chain the two fights together. Then I had Sabine jump up onto here and switch forms so that she would get her jump ability back in the chaos form before going to the front gate of Fort Joy and exiting the fight, because Sabine is going to bring one more guest to the party, and that is Wendigo. Wendigo is the sorcerer who kills a bunch of Magisters like almost immediately, like the opening cutscene of the game kills a ton of Magisters. So I figured, what better way to use Wendigo than to have Paladin Cork fighting on one side of the battlefield while Wendigo worked her way through the Magisters on the other side. Wendigo actually got pretty close to killing Sabine. It was like just a couple hit points, but I chugged a potion and headed into the water to get the burn away from me before getting some high ground and teleporting Wendigo as far as I could into the battlefield. I lured her the final rest of the way in, and once my teleport skill was back, I teleported her right on top of the Magisters. Oh no. Oh, I've messed up. Sabine's at the end of the combat queue after all those Magisters. She is definitely going to die, unless like Wendigo and the Magisters fight each other. If Wendigo and the Magisters fight each other, then Sabine might not actually take that many hits. Well, little did I know that for some reason, Wendigo and the Magisters are not enemies. Wendigo is standing right in the middle of the Magisters and they completely ignored her. No interest whatsoever in trying to fight her. I couldn't tell if it was just that the Magisters wanted to kill me more than they wanted to kill Wendigo, or if it was just like a weird thing. I didn't feel completely sure that they were on the same team until this happened. Okay, let's see what Wendigo decides. She aimed the fireball behind me to avoid hitting the Silent Monk. She's on their team. That's so ridiculous. There's absolutely no reason that she should be on the Magister's team. She butchers them on the boat ride to Fort Joy. I didn't think that this is how the fight was gonna go. I tried looking through my inventory to see if I could find a way out of this. I looked all around the battlefield trying to see if there was anything I could use to save Paladin Cork. I finally decided to try using telekinesis, which I have 1 point in, to crush enemies with a heavy box that I saw over by the gate. So I sent the gloves of teleportation from dead Sabile over to Fane's inventory, and I had him move up to the high ground so I could try and teleport the box closer. But I didn't have line of sight on the box from up here, which left me feeling even more stumped because now I've wasted a full turn of action points and have absolutely nothing to show for it. I can't just leave the fight because the Magisters are going to keep killing Paladin Cork. So if I tried to wrap around and revive Sabile or go respec to a damage build, by the time I get back, Paladin Cork's probably gonna be dead. The only way I could salvage this turn so it's not completely wasted is if I teleport something somewhere. So I started looking at, what if I teleport Paladin Cork somewhere? I could teleport him away from the Magisters, but not really that far. So by the time I go and get something or change something, he's gonna be dead. He's gonna be dead by the time I get back because it doesn't matter how far I teleport him, the Magisters are just gonna run over. Except I noticed I could teleport him into this little tiny stretch right behind the, I don't know what it's called, that makes a gate go up and down. I don't know what this thing's called. Tell me what this thing's called. I was hoping that he would be stuck behind here, and he was. He was completely stuck back here, and it made all of the enemies confused and not really know what to do. With the enemies not really knowing how to attack him, I was thinking maybe this is my chance. I can escape the battlefield. He'll survive long enough for me to get back with something that's going to help. Maybe it's Sabile, maybe it's something else. And then this silent monk stood right behind me. So the only thing I could think to do now would be to buff Paladin Cork up as much as I can and play dead and see if I can get this monk to walk away so I can try to flee. But sure enough, the monk just stood there, didn't move at all, didn't know what to do, just stood there completely blocking my body from being able to move. I delayed my turn to see if I could get him to leave before my next turn. And it was actually kind of funny because Wendigo just decided that she was done. Just like, I'm out. It's, I'm not interested anymore. And she just ran off the battlefield. But no, the silent monk just stood his ground. He did not move at all. And Fane is 100% stuck. He doesn't have a single movement ability because he is meant to just be a buff machine. And to make matters worse, one of the Magisters figured out how to hit Paladin Cork, and then another one followed his example and started hitting him right after. So I only have a 60% chance to hit, so I'm not feeling super good about my chances of killing the silent monk, but I don't really know what else to do. I can't believe that's 3 in a row. Oh, that's sounded like the screams of a desperate Sir Laura. Ah, yes. Sir Laura refuses to move 1 tiny inch off of the fire. I could just let it happen. No, I won't let it happen. No, we'll try and take my turn as quick as I can, see if we can get Sir Laura some help. I don't want to jinx it, but this is an outrageous number of hits for 60% and there it is. Yeah. To make matters worse, one of the Magisters healed the silent monk with restoration, so I'm nowhere near killing him at this point. But thankfully, since I used Time Warp, it helped reset my cooldowns quicker, so my teleportation ability is actually 1 turn away from being ready to go. And a lot of the enemies are still having a hard time targeting Paladin Cork. Some of them are getting some hits in, but he's still healthy for now. Now that it's my turn again, I can teleport this silent monk out of my way and finally be able to move. And I think the plan is going to be, I'm gonna make a run for it. I'm gonna try to get to this staircase. I'm gonna get out of the fight. I teleported the Magister as far away as I could, and I made a run for the staircase. I don't have enough action points to get all the way there in 1 turn, but there's not that many Magisters near. I just glitched through the door, which is normal and fine. Hey, Paladin Cork got a kill. Nice job, buddy. Oh, maybe since I'm a more accessible target, the Magisters are running over towards me. As long as they don't stun me or do something awful to me, it should be okay. And if I can get out of the fight, I have a plan. I have a plan, everybody. I know what I need to do. I didn't think this is what I was going to need to do, but drastic times. What are you doing? What are you, fossil? That's that should be fine. I should have enough movement. Hey, nice dodge. Run, run, run. Nice. Now I have to move really quick because the fight is continuing without me, and I knew that I had left this very heavy bag here, and I'm sure a lot of you can guess what heavy things are in the bag. I cannot move this bag very far. I need to get back to the fight as quick as I can, and I can't move the... I'm so stupid. I just need to send it to Sabeel. Okay, send over to Sabeel, and then I'm gonna run over to the fight and get back, hopefully before... Oh, he's fine. There's only like 2. He's fine. Okay, we did. Okay, he's fine. Paladin Cork is alive. They have not managed to surround him. It didn't really take that long to run over. I was just worried. I'd be so annoying if I put all this effort in and then he still died. I'm kind of surprised I'm not in the combat right now because Paladin Cork just looked at me and took me out of stealth, but I'm not in the combat at all. I can't even click on him. Maybe you need a different angle. Okay. I don't know why I'm not in the combat. Is it because the silent monks are neutral? So they don't proc? I mean, I literally just buffed Paladin Cork right in front of them. You'd think that would bring me into the fight. That's not really that fair. But whatever. I'm gonna get my backpack back from Sabeel, throw it on the ground, and it's got Death Fog in it. It's got three barrels of Death Fog in it, and I don't know what else to do at this point because I think wrapping around to try to revive Sabeel would probably take too long. Maybe I don't know. It seems like the best bet is to just Death Fog him. When the Magister approached, I finally got brought into the fight for real. So I guess the Silent Monks are just completely neutral, which actually does make sense. I mean, they're just completely dead to the world. They only follow the commands of the Magisters. It makes a lot more sense for them to be neutral than it makes for Wendigo to be on the Magisters team, which is dumb. But what are you gonna do? I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna Death Fog them. We're gonna Death Fog everybody that's trying to get to Paladin Cork.
Worms take you. Prepare yourself.
I'm also going to use the really heavy backpack as a weapon with telekinesis. The Silent Monks have a lot of dodge chance, so I'll probably miss a couple times. I'll use Peace of Mind on myself to give myself 20% more accuracy so that I can finally get some hit I can miss. So I can finally miss another hit. And then I will get a hit. Hey, there's a hit. 96 damage is no joke. That's a ton. Oh my gosh, I cannot hit this thing. I used all my luck earlier. Okay, we got 2 hits. I used all of my luck earlier, and I didn't even matter because I didn't kill the Silent Monk I was trying to kill. I got lucky, and the Silent Monks both grouped up right in front of me close enough that I could hit both of them with the backpack at the same time, assuming I could actually land a hit against them instead of missing everything. But I did eventually get the hits in and managed to kill them both at the same time. Paladin Cork had taken some hits, but he was still doing fine, so I just went ahead and just brought his health back up to full so he would be safe, and then I played dead because there was this archer that was shooting at me from up here. It was annoying, and I included this clip in the video because something very consequential happens during this that I did not catch on my first time around, but something does happen, and it's done now. It's happened. It's done. With the Death Fog on the battlefield, I had a guaranteed kill every couple of turns with teleport, and Paladin Cork was doing just fine, so I decided to teleport him out of his spot so he could start taking care of these archers and finish this fight up. But he had no intention of taking care of the archers. He just took off running, just past 2 of them. I don't know what his plan is other than, he's obviously going for the one enemy that was not even remotely close to him. I don't know why, but it's fine because I followed him over and now I can revive Sabeel and let her get back into the fight. So with Sabeel back in the fight, she could should go back to objective number 1, which is trying to take out the ranged enemies. I had her just jump up there and just absolutely butcher this guy. It was no problem at all. And so we finished off the last of the enemies and it was all over. We had finally saved Paladin Cork from just the messiest of fights.
By Lucian's sword, these Magisters are madmen. Are you alright?
Not everyone survived the fight. I sent my party over to kill Wendigo. I gave Sabile every single buff I possibly could. And, you know, I read the charges, 1 count of being a total hypocrite, 1 count of showing up in the opening cinematic, killing Magisters, and then not doing it in the real game. And she agreed, so, you know, she really got what she deserved here.